Good morning, everybody. My name is Sergeant Walter Stensland. I'm with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. This panel of professionals with me is Sergeant Donnie Williams. We have our Deputy Raven Washington and Deputy Powell. They're with the CPOP unit. Sergeant Donnie Williams is with community outreach, community engagement. This morning, it is a pleasure to have everybody here with us. I got to get in my game face here just real quick. It takes me a minute to make that transition, but it's a good program so far. We're here to share a little knowledge on some of the things that we are doing at the Sheriff's Office to facilitate the reduction in violent crime in our communities. I work for the Neighborhood Policing Division. The Neighborhood Policing Division is probably the newest division within the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Our focus is community-oriented policing, building those partnerships with our community, fostering those relationships, and having their input with us going out there, going to work collaboratively together to be able to solve crime and improve quality of life issues such as, nuisance abatement issues, graffiti issues, things that sometimes are overlooked, abandoned vehicles. We have the fortunate pleasure to work directly for Chief Lee. We don't have a major in our division. We do have a captain, and we report directly to Chief Lee. Chief Lee is renowned around the country as an expert in community-oriented policing. He's also he's a futures thinker, so he's always implementing new programs, especially toward people with mental illnesses. We have that in our unit as well. So just to kind of cover a couple things, looking for my little cheat sheet here. In neighborhood policing, we have contracts. I'm a contract coordinator. With that, we have a total of 131 contracts in Harris County. We have about 355 contract deputies throughout the county. One of the things that I was tasked with in order to rebrand the program was to come up with a lesson plan. I wrote an 81-page lesson plan. Some of that philosophy and some of that education came from our CPOP unit. What we did is we wanted to get back to the basics. We wanted to go back to community-oriented policing, and we wanted to have our deputies be more approachable, and not just stand back and be reactive. We want to be a part of the community. Our focus is be the sheriff of your contract, and the reason I say that, and when we do this training, is because 99% of the people will never meet our sheriff, but you will meet your contract deputy that's working in your neighborhood. And when that deputy is the sheriff of that contract, they own all four corners of that contract. The other thing is if there's a problem and that deputy knows about it, that deputy is responsible to solve that problem or reach out and get assistance and take ownership. If somebody else takes ownership, then we know that problem is going to be solved, and that deputy is responsible to follow up, make sure that we come to a conclusion that is good for everybody. The other thing is we focus on, in our training, we focus on crime deterrent by traffic stops. And you say to yourself, what does a traffic stop have to do with deterring crime? We're not focused on the citation. We're not focused on the punishment. We're focused on the educational part of that. Sometimes that traffic stop is that way that we make that, open that conversation. You can run a stop sign. The deputy goes out there, introduces themselves. We have what we call a 7-step violator approach, and I'll go through it as if I'm just stopped you on traffic. I will pull you over, exit the car, walk up there, and I'll say, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Stensland with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. The reason I pulled you over, you failed to stop at the stop sign. I need to see your driver's license, proof of financial responsibility. I get that, I go back to the car, check everything out, issue a warning, come back up. You're like, wow, I've actually had a positive interaction with a police officer. I got a warning when, in fact, I could have got the citation. And then maybe next time I see you somewhere else, maybe at the store or whatever, we engage in a conversation. I see you at the park, I exit the car, we start that dialogue. Community-oriented policing, it's so very important at the very core of what we do is is establishing and fostering those relationships in the community. If you don't trust me, you're not going to talk to me. And that's what it's all about. It's about trust. It's also about the police empowering the community to be a part of the solution. We want your input. We go by a thing called the broken windows theory, where if you police the little things, the big things kind of take care of themselves, and we want the community to be a part of that. One of the examples that they always talk about in the police academy when it comes to broken windows is if you have an abandoned house and there's a window broken, nobody says anything, nobody does anything. The next couple of days, there's going to be 3 windows that are broken now. And as you keep not addressing that issue, it gets bigger and bigger. Eventually, you can have graffiti painted all over it. So our contract deputies on the community side of policing, we're addressing those issues. We have nuisance abatement and graffiti abatement deputies that work in our unit. We have an email for that you can send out, and we'll address those issues as we get those emails. Plus, they're always out there proactively looking for places that we need to correct and take care of as well. Some of the other things that we focus on is we want our deputies to know that the community is part of the police, and the police are part of the community. What do you think happens when the community does not allow us to police them? We have anarchy, we have chaos, we don't have trust, you have riots. Look at other places around the country where there is no trust between the community and the police. I think that in Harris County, we are way better than our counterparts in other places around the country because we focus on that. That is our mission. Our mission is to go out there, be a part of that community, collaborate with our community members, solve those quality of life issues. We want to take care of all that stuff. We want your property values to stay high. We want you to want to live in our communities that we police. We have about 355 contract deputies so far in our program. There's always other communities that want to expand with us. We like to have our footprint all over the county. We love that. The other thing is it's always good to be able to go out there when we don't hear it enough. You're doing a good job. We love you. And that's all part of being the sheriff of your contract, taking ownership of those problems. That problem is yours until it is fixed. Some of the other programs that we have just launched is about 2 weeks ago, there's a program called SafeCam. And that program is designed for you to be able to register your cameras at your house, whether it's a Ring camera or whatever type of surveillance camera you have. You can go to our website. It's www.harriscountyso.org. And you can go on there and you can actually go to SafeCam, one of our programs. You can register your camera. What's going to happen is we're in the process of working with our CADE unit, our criminal analysis unit downtown, intelligence division. And what they're going to do is they're going to map these cameras. What that does for you in the event that you are a victim or somebody else is a victim of a crime in your area, we know exactly where all the cameras are, where we can go, our investigators can go and knock on the door and say, will you review your camera footage and see if there's anything of evidence that we can collect from you. So that's a program that we're working on now. That's going to be a game changer. I can tell you a couple of weeks ago, it's been about 2 months now, one of our contracts in our Katy area bought some license plate readers. They're portable so they can move them around the contract. There was a road rage shooting over there. It was on a Friday afternoon. Our complainant that got shot ended up passing away, so that turned into a homicide from an aggravated assault. The suspects took the wrong turn and went down one of the streets where the cameras were. By the next afternoon, about 2:30 in the afternoon, they already had the suspect in custody. Case was closed. And that's the benefit of that. That's what SafeCam is going to do for us. That's what SafeCam is going to do for you if you participate in that. It's all reactive. We're not going to invade your privacy. We're not going to be able to look at that server in real time. So you can also pull consent at any time if you don't want to participate in the program, but that's something that we just launched, and And National Night Out, if any of you guys are out there in our communities, we're going to put those brochures out there so you can see that too, but it is on our website. Some of the other things that we do I want to put out there is we have a program called Project Guardian. Project Guardian is a program that NPD oversees, and it's for kids with autism. What happens is if you sign up for the program, you sign your kid up for the program, they will be issued a bracelet or a necklace. That bracelet or necklace will actually, in the event that they wander off, will emit a radio frequency. We have trackers that are stationed out in the district. We've also tested our equipment in our helicopters. We will be able to bring that child home very fast. The old technology we had was we call our K9 guys and we start tracking. This thing is really fast. Technology has really evolved. We have that same program called Project Project Lifesaver. It's exactly the same program, but it's geared toward adults with Alzheimer's and people that like to wander off. So you can sign up for that at no cost to you, your family, and we have a deputy that oversees that program. Every month they go around and they check the batteries and make sure that the equipment is functioning. So it's a game changer. It's something that we offer. We want you to be a part of that. The other things that we're doing to safeguard our communities is our boarding homes unit. There's neighborhoods that has boarding homes out there. We have dedicated investigators that go out. They will actually do a house check, so to speak, to make sure the permits are in order, to make sure there's no Medicaid abuse going on, any financial crimes going there. Some people become victims in those environments if there's somebody that's not looking after their interests. So we have deputies that do that. Some of the other things we have is we have a core program, which is for mental health and our CERT units, crisis intervention teams. We have a deputy. We have deputies that are trained in crisis intervention. They are teamed up with a master's level clinician that actually rides in the patrol car with them. So when there is a mental health call, this clinician will go out there and do the evaluation, the assessment on scene, and then the decision is made whether we need to do an emergency detention order and get treatment versus jail. So there's a lot of different programs we're doing, and those are just to name a few that's in the neighborhood policing division. But at the end of the day, our focus is it's establishing and fostering those relationships with our community. We can't do it without you. You can't do it without us. Everybody wants to be safe in their homes. They want to be safe at their jobs. They want their kids to be safe at schools. I can tell you that out of those 355 deputies and contracts, every one of them are out there visiting schools. They're getting, every school district, for the most part, with the exception of one in Harris County, has their own police department. And actually, Waller is actually in another county, but we service them. But we collaborate with those school district police officers, and we go to those schools. We want our deputies to have those layouts, those floor plans of those schools, in case we have to react to that active shooter call. We know where we're going. So just know that the sheriff's office at Harris County, we are doing those things. We are preparing ourselves. Unfortunately, if we have to, we don't want to go there, but we're prepared if we have to. Those are the steps that we have to do. You can take a good football team that plays on Saturday or Sunday. They got to practice Monday through Thursday to get ready for that game. That's what we're doing at the sheriff's office. We're ready to respond. We're ready to, we're proactive in our contracts. And I want to mention one more thing. I touched on that traffic stop, but I didn't finish the story. I'm starting to get into my groove now. So when you look at traffic stops, crime prevention, you say to yourself, how can a traffic stop prevent crime or deter crime? I can tell you studies have shown that one traffic stop will deter crime in that one area for 42 minutes. Now, we rewrote policy for our contract patrol deputies. In that policy, we put in there that we wanted them to do 3 traffic stops per shift. That's not very many for an 8-hour day, right? But one traffic stop, 42 minutes, the bad guy's going to go through there and say, man, those guys are working today. We got to go somewhere else. And it's not always about punishment. It's about educating the public. I can tell you studies have also shown that when you get stopped by a Harris County Sheriff's deputy, about 85% 4% of the time, you're going to get a warning. So chances are you get stopped, you're going to get a warning. But I'm telling you, we use techniques like that, number one, to slow people down. I will tell you, COVID made people get impatient. They drive a lot faster. We need to slow people down, save lives out there. But also in our neighborhoods, it's actually detours crime. Each stop's 42 minutes. And in some cases, it opens the conversation. We can start talking. Now you can trust the deputy that stopped you. It opens those avenues. We want our deputies also, when they're patrolling your neighborhoods, to get out of the car at the park, talk to the kids, talk to people walking the dogs. It's all about that. If you trust me and I trust you, we can solve a lot of problems. If I'm standing over in the corner like this and I don't want to be approached, we can't solve any problems because you don't trust me. And I've always been a social butterfly. I'm going to close out with this. I always tell people, when you're a big, ugly fellow like me, you better have a good personality because you don't have nothing else going for you. So I believe in catching a lot more flies with honey than I do with salt. And, if any of you guys or gals need to get a hold of us at the NPD, we're on the website. We all have our email posted on there. You'll see my picture. It is a pleasure being here. I'm glad that you are here and you take ownership of this because it shows me that you care. And when you care, we care. And, it just makes our job a lot more fulfilling to know that there's people out there that still do care about this and are willing to come and spend your day with us. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little foresight of what we're doing as far as the neighborhood goes and what we're doing, getting out there, visiting these schools and knowing the layouts of these schools. But it's all about community outreach. I didn't touch really on the homeless outreach teams, but they're a part of us. So there's a lot of things that we're doing out there. I don't want to steal too much more time from my colleagues here, but it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you. We'll answer questions here after everybody else gets done.
Well, first of all, good morning, good evening. I don't know if I should follow that, but real quickly, my name is Sergeant Donnie Williams. I'm a Virgo, and you are? There you go. Right on, right on. So the reason I start off like that because of why we are human, right? When you see this uniform allows me to get in the door and stand in front of you today. So one thing I want to talk about is our community engagement unit. And when you hear community engagement, we do more than pass out coloring books and crayons. Our job is to change people's lives. If you notice, when a person is hungry, they make what? Bad decisions. If you go on HEB right today, and if you haven't eaten in 2 days, you're going to make bad decisions, things you pick up, correct? So we're here to give information to change people's lives by one day at a time. And one thing we want to emphasize is to the community that you are seen. You are seen. The second thing we want to emphasize that you are heard and you matter. Because we're dealing with communities that's underserved, and they feel like they're not appreciated at all. So how we do that? Break the gap. And usually break the gap by how do you break that gap and bridging that gap? One step at a time, and you have to preserve that attitude. And everybody that you meet is a human being. Just because you're low income don't make you low class, right? So we are here not to just fluff you, but educate you so you can educate us. And one thing I want to introduce some of my team members. Under the community engagement umbrella, you have CPOP, what they're going to explain to you. Then we're going to talk about UNIDOS. That's dealing with the Latino community, dealing with a community that's underserved as well. We speak in your language so we can understand what's coming from you. Then we have our PALS program. That's police athletics. That means we're going to play games and activities with you, but we teach you something as well. We have a gentleman that had a pleasure to meet. His name is Coach Hudson. Coach teaches chess. And communities that you would never, ever believe, you're like, wow, chess is powerful. That's a life. If you can understand chess, you understand life. So we give skill sets and opportunities to communities that are underserved. We also give you opportunity. We got connections in community engagement with stakeholders who have given you a career, not a job, but a career. Everybody's not meant to go to college. And studies show that people don't drop out in high school. They don't drop out in middle school. They drop out in elementary by the 3rd grade. That's mentally, right? We want to be more proactive and reactive. There's a lot of programs out there once you're in trouble. But how about we get you before you get to that point? So I want to introduce my team. Y'all stand up. Also, I'd like to introduce Sergeant Cheatham, who's to be coming over and take over CPOP very soon. She was one of the originals of CPOP. So I didn't tell y'all to sit down. Y'all going to do a solo in a minute. No, never mind. So real quickly, we're going to turn it over to the one and only Raven Washington with an I, D. Bishop Paul, a.k.a. Bishop. So we turn it over, and any questions after, I'm going to take up too much more time because we want to hear from you, the questions that you have so we can answer. So y'all want to step down and do your thing? Oh, also we want to thank my adopted sister here who helped us, the foundation of CPOP, the training, Ms. Tisha Jenkins.
Good afternoon. No, we are not about to sing. I know some of y'all are expecting a performance, but we're people's people. You know, we like being down here with the crowd. You know, so real quick, I am Deputy Powell. I'm a deputy with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. I've been with our agency now going on 18 years. I know I've been managing my stress well, you know. But I recently turned 40 years old. I'm also a licensed T-code instructor with the state of Texas and a crime prevention specialist as well. And this is my partner. I'm going to let her tell you a little something about herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Deputy Raven Washington with the Harris County Sheriff's Office as well. I've been with the county for almost 6 years now. I'm also a licensed T-code instructor and a crime prevention specialist. Yes, and we're excited to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
So look, we're going to push, right? Because we definitely want to leave room for questions. So this presentation was meant to be like 40 minutes, but we're going to try and squeeze it in about a hot 15, you know. But it's cool because we do have phone numbers. We can get back in touch with you. All right, so we'll start the pre-zone. So back in 2021, the conversation was had with our sergeant as well as our command staff on starting a unit post George Floyd that was going to go back into the communities and really be boots on the ground, really go out and start having those conversations, hearing what the people actually are saying instead of what we think should be done inside of those communities. So the thought was brought up from them to start our CPOP team. CPOP is an acronym that stands for Community Problem Oriented Policing. Today we're going to cover 3 topics. Like I said, we're going to fly through these, y'all. We're going to be talking about launching an innovative policing agency, relationship building, as well as the future of policing. And when speaking of launching of innovative policing, basically we're talking about, though this was kind of catered towards some of the agencies that may be in the room that doesn't have a unit similar to CPOP. So we're just going to give you guys the overall on how we got started. So the inception of this group, I know it was a hard deal for Sergeant Williams to find the right people at the right time. For the ones that don't know, Harris County itself is about 1,700 square miles. We're one of the most diverse counties inside the nation. So the team, again, we wanted to pick the right people, but then also be a reflection of the people group who will be coming out to the communities to serve themselves. This is our mission statement. I'm slowing down on this part here. Now, when we first kicked off this unit, Ms. Tisha Jenkins, thank you so much. 18 years in the game, you do not realize how much trauma comes into your psyche doing this work. And if you are a health professional, you understand that giving, eventually you get to the point where you don't always have something to give. Sitting down with her, going through this training, it was very innovative. Having a therapist come in, talking to us, doing a SWOT analysis, right? In the business world, they use it a lot, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Actually having a self-check to see who you are, what you can work with coming out into those communities. And then we took a deeper dive. We did a DISC assessment, right? So now we're trying to point out, you know, who's the leaders, who's the support guys, you know, who's the ones we're going to have trouble with inside the room, you know. But all in all, I say that to say that really helped us have a base for who we were as individuals before we went out to the community to try and help other individuals as well. So self-awareness was a key component. But let's run through this real quick. The mission statement: to actively engage the diverse communities of Harris County in proactive efforts that build mutual trust and cooperation among law enforcement officers and every community member. To understand the unique community challenges, empower community members, reduce crime, and support agency growth by improving the police delivery of service. When I say this was near and dear, I mean, we almost went to bat inside the room trying to pick the exact words to represent the movement that we were trying to create, not only in our county, but inside of our nation. Even our logo, every superhero has to have a symbol. Batman has his, Superman has his. This is ours, right? This is ours. One of the most important things we thought to add to this emblem was going to be this braid, right? There's a scripture inside the text that says, one is weak, but many are strong. 3 strands are strong. So that was the idea we had behind putting the braid around our badge itself. Now, real quick, I don't have enough time to go through all this whole blueprint, but this is our 90-day blueprint that Sergeant Williams came up with for this agency. The key component to this is going out and connecting, because there's several different agencies you have to be affiliated with. You have your governmental agencies, you have your community stakeholders, you have your non-governmentals, you have your schools. Everybody forgets at times that there's levels to this game. There's levels to this game, and what I mean by this game, when it comes to actually helping individuals out, there's only so much the police can do, there's only so much the church can do, there's only so much the community and the government can do. But again, these were crucial connections we made throughout our first 90 days, because we knew these people, these groups, were going to be needed for the mission ahead. CPOP is designed to be a crime prevention, crime reduction, problem-solving unit. We get our chronic issues, and how we get that data, it comes from our CADE division. CADE is going to be self-explanatory, our crime analysis and intelligence division. Now, what they do over at CADE, when we get those calls for services in to our dispatch, those calls go to a system. That system helps us compile that information so we can take a more strategic approach to actually fighting crime, right? It gives us not only the areas, but it gives us the dates and the time. And again, because the goal is to strategically go and fight crime. It doesn't do us, the blanket approach is really not working that well. Now, another thing that we have access to, that's the pointer, is the comparison over time. The analysis is always important to any initiative that you're currently running, to look at your reductions, to look at your improvements, to see if the work that you put into place is actually working or not. So the $1 million question hits the table. Once we went out to the community and made all those connections with the public health, with the commissioner's office, with the government affiliations, how do you arrange your contacts and your connections to solve problems? And again, I broke this chessboard down, and I wanted to use this as a symbol because this is how we actually view problems inside the communities, right? Because each of these pieces on this board plays an important role inside of our community. Every single piece. And if anyone, got any chess players in here, show a hand? Okay, we got a few strategists. Checkers. All right. Connect four, right? But I wanted this to be a picture to leave you guys with, letting you know that even a pawn can win that game. You know what I mean? Even the one community member that has a vision to change their community and their surroundings can be that winning piece to solving, or that key piece to solving a problem. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. It's going to be relationship building. And I want to leave y'all with this. You got your pens and papers out? So these are going to be 4 T's to relationship building. That first one is going to be time. Next, talking, transparency, and then trust. What I mean by time is with any friendship. Y'all ever had, man, we were talking about this the other day. You ever had that friend that shows up at your party and is like, who invited him? You know, then after a while, a guy gets to cracking a couple of jokes. But it's the same when we come into communities. We are actually strangers inside of these neighborhoods. I can't tell you what your problems are on your street until I actually have that conversation. And then you won't build that level of trust from me until we're being transparent with each other. There's a level of connection. In the business world, again, they call it mirroring, right? So that's a key essential to building relationships. I'm going to transition over to my partner. because I'll be back. All right, we're going to go through one of our, again, another key component, which is going to be our meetings.
Yes, so meetings are an integral part of relationship building. Of course, it's where you implement those 4 T's that Deputy Powell was mentioning. So I'll go over the types of meetings, of course. So first, you'll have your stakeholder meetings. Your stakeholders are the people that basically have stake in the community. They can make moves where police and law enforcement cannot. Also, you'll have your community meetings with your residents that live in your community that you serve, and then your apartment manager meetings. They are the people that have control of so many apartment complexes in Harris County. So they're an integral part of what we do. So here me and Deputy Powell, we made up a list of things that we, use within our meetings as well. So it's just, it's not a real acronym. It's just there. It's letters. So listen, relate, educate, and relay. So in our meetings, we're going to listen, which we're going to let our community tell us what their issues are. As Deputy Powell said, we like to hear what our community has to say. They're the experts in our community. We want to actually relate to them, let them know, hey, we understand what you're going through. We are people. We have this uniform on, but we bleed red. We have the same issues. Also, we want to educate them, educate our community to be empowered. And when you empower someone and educate them and give them awareness, they have the opportunity to police themselves, right? Also, we want to relay information. So every piece of information that we take from a meeting, we bring that back to our command staff, and we sit down at the table and say, hey, how are we going to solve these issues? How are we going to bring solutions back to our communities? Because every situation is not an arrestable offense, right? Some things have to be solved with time, with resources, and things of that nature. So our stakeholder meetings, these are your small businesses, your brick and mortars. In these conversations, we like to go over robbery prevention tips, right? Because they're business owners. They like to protect their assets. Trespassing, graffiti awareness, criminal mischiefs, unreported crime, a lot of things, and I want to touch on that. A lot of businesses have, I work in a 1960 corridor, so there's a lot of abandoned buildings, and sometimes some business owners don't like to report like small crimes, right? But that's how we assess if we're doing our job. That's how we know what we need to target. Every crime needs to be reported. It doesn't matter if you find a small shell casing on the ground. That could be a key to another crime, right? So we want to report every crime. Also, we want to go over technology, new alarm systems, new cameras, things of that nature. And then that also builds community trust, right? Because we're hearing what they have to say to us. Next, our apartment manager meeting. So let's say this meeting, there were about 30 property managers, right? And so in the 1960 corridor, just in the 77090 zip code, there's about 40 apartments. So let's say it's 40 or 30 office managers in this meeting. There are about 250 to 300 units per apartment complex. So, and then in each unit, there's about 4 or 5 people, residents in those units. So that's about what? I'm not a mathematician, y'all. I failed statistics in college 3 times, but I passed. But 1,200, 1,500 people, right? So each manager is touching about 1,500 people in their complex. So these meetings are very vital, right? Because they go out and give their communities the information that we give them. And then we get into another note taking. Y'all got y'all pencils, y'all phones, y'all notes? All right. So another takeaway is our 4 Ds of crime prevention: deter, detect, deny, and delay. And basically that's what it means. Deter is one of the most cost-effective things that we suggest, like lighting, signage, tollway, helpful hints. So that kind of deters crime. That kind of tells the offenders, hey, you can't come here, right? Detection, making sure that we see physical security on property. Also alarms, dogs, things that'll run away an offender, right? It makes your property unappealing to offenders. Also, deny, exactly what it says. We make sure that all apartments and businesses have accurate fencing, accurate gate codes and things of that nature. A lot of older apartments, they don't update their gate codes, right? So when police respond, we have a delayed response because we don't have up-to-date gate codes. So we try to help them in that way. And also delay, which what it says, we try to tell our residents, hey, you might want to replace that standard screw in your door frame with a 3-inch screw instead of a 1-inch screw. It makes your door less easier to kick down, or things of that nature. Okay, so this is one of near and dear to my heart, and I'm gonna take my time with this one. Okay, so so this community, right, is near and dear to my heart. This is a community that I've been working in since I started at the sheriff's office. As I said, I used to be on patrol for about 5 years, working in District 1, which is everything between 45 to 49. In this specific complex, I used to see a problem, right, with this when I was on patrol. But on patrol, it kind of gets robotic, right? It kind of gets to a point where we're just answering a call, giving a report, and I have to go to the next call because we are short-staffed and we have to get things done. So when I got to this unit, we were assigned with the task of saying, hey, go into your community, see what's going on, see what issues you can bring back to the drawing board, and see how you can solve them. So this I knew I was going to get, right? So imagine you paying rent for almost $900 to $1,000. You walk outside of your front door to get your kid on the bus to go to school, and you see this, right? You're living there, you're paying $900, $1,000 in rent, and that's what you walk outside and see. So that's what my residents were seeing. That's what my community that I served were seeing every day. So I knew I had to fix it, right? So with the connections that I was speaking on earlier, my stakeholder meetings, my community meetings, I conjured up so many people. That was the Houston Apartment Association, Harris County Public Health, the Commissioner's Office, everybody I could speak of, because as police officers, it's a lot of red tape, right? And so some people have further reach than we do. So I decided, hey, we all finna sit at the table. Somebody about to help my people out, right? So we decided that we were gonna demolish the building, right? They came up with funds and we decided, hey, y'all not gonna rebuild this. Y'all don't wanna talk to lawyers. We're gonna go find these owners. We're gonna meet with them and we're gonna demolish this building. So that is what we did. And that was a way to also let the community know, hey, we care. We care, we see what's going on. And now that I have the platform to solve this issue, I'm going to. So that's what these meetings are basically about. And that's just one benefit from it. You can sip inside.
And we pressed on time, but we're gonna keep pushing.
Yeah.
So next is gonna be community meetings. And again, these are grassroots. Recently, through a course of community meetings, I've had the opportunity through my connections to partner with Precinct 2 Commissioner's Office. So as a matter of fact, I was telling her I was nervous because I'm like, man, I got a safety meeting tonight. So throughout the course of East Harris County, we've been going from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood. And again, we're talking about safety measures, things that the county's doing, things that the Commissioner's Office is doing, again, to let the community members know, one, that we're working and we're not just sitting idly by, and then two, hear those true community concerns. See, it's me, it's my back. That's my back right there. I was working out that month. But also another thing that I've managed to do with the help of some of my community members was start a term that I use called governing bodies, right? And in unincorporated Harris County, you have areas that doesn't have HOAs. They don't have a water board that speaks on behalf of those communities. So it was tasked to try and find stakeholders, business leaders, community members, church members, and we started putting together these little small groups to start making decisions, governing decisions for those communities that have not been spoken and have not been heard. Write this down. Follow up.
Follow up.
Any relationship, like, this is important. You gotta call her back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You gotta call him back. You know, the hard part about this is the amazing people that we meet and the amazing groups that we come across who want to work with us and want to continue to work with us. The follow-up is that key component that gets all this stuff done. You got to call back. So if you're working with a group right now, if you're not working with a group and you exchange numbers today because y'all plan on doing some work, call them back, you know. Real quick, I want to share this project that we've been working on in a community on the east side as well. I spoke with the management recently, and again, because talking time, transparency, and trust, we had a conversation about taking one of his units and modifying that unit into a community center so we can bring in those resources that are here at this function here. He's now taking that property. I asked him to add some skylights in there to get more light in the room for the kids. You know, we get some tables. So if any of y'all feel like y'all want to be a part of this project, please get with me after this. Get with me after this session. But also not just that room itself, also the property grounds. And when you go back and look at the actual stats for that property, they have gone down significantly since he's been making those improvements on his ground. So I just wanted to show y'all that this is, it is actually working. Now, here goes the fun part for the community, the hard part for us, right? Because all of those meetings, once we get all that conversation going, the main thing we get to do is sit down at the table and start going over these logistics so we can run these community events, so the community can actually take benefit from the hard work we've been doing behind the scenes. This here was a group of TSU students that came out. We painted some graffiti in the McNair area. At the bottom, you see a health fair we put on for the Cloverleaf area. Here to the right, we're in the Kingwood area on a parade, and all this was in partnership through our division, as well as a kickball game we put on with some of the kids. Unito's group, we out there working, y'all. I don't know if y'all follow us on social media, but we out there putting in work. And lastly, we want to just kind of cover some of the future of policing.
Right, so here's where we always, whenever we're doing a problem-solving model, we want to develop broad goals, right? So that means, what do we want to see from our work in the future? What do we want to pass down to the people that are going to take over when we leave, when we retire, right? That'll be about 20 years for me, but still. So we want to develop the CPOP mentality amongst our contract deputies, which you all see that Sergeant Stinson is definitely implementing in his contract deputies. And if you don't know, contracts are basically neighborhoods where a patrol deputy is assigned to just police that neighborhood and gain connection and fellowship with that area specifically. And then we want policy revision. Right? So we have to make sure that the policy supports what we're doing, right? We can't do one thing and policy says another, or vice versa. So we always want to make sure that we leave that policy to where other deputies that come behind us can do the work that we're doing, and it's supported by the agency. Also, we want to, we want to implement our mindset across all agencies. You are not just policed by the Sheriff's Office. You are policed by HPD. You're policed by Harris County Constables, state troopers. We would like to implement this mindset and this model across all agencies at once, because we don't want someone out there being counteractive. While we're doing this hard work, putting this work in, building this trust, another agency is tearing it down, right? So we're really big on implementing this across agencies as a scope. Also, our crime-free multi-housing, what I went through in regards to the 4 Ds. Anybody remember? Deter, delay, deny. Come on, y'all are tracking. Okay, 4 Ds, 4 Ts, all of that. So yeah, that'll be like making your property unappealing to criminals, okay? And then integrated civilian liaisons. As Deputy Powell talked about, he's big on compiling a group of stakeholders so they can make decisions on a civilian level. I know a lot of stakeholders in the community that can make more moves than I can. I know one pastor, he can call off a war with just one phone call. So they're very, very important. They do things that the law enforcement cannot do. So they're super, super duper important.
So we're wrapping it up now. So takeaways. So 90-day plan, you're going to have a vision for whatever it is that you're doing. Once you get those key components in, you got to prioritize, decide how you're going to put them on your board so you can start playing this game. Right?
What's the 4 Ts, y'all?
4 Ts? Hey, own it. And then most importantly, the follow-up. All right? So we're going to lead the flow because, again, we like hearing from y'all. I got my notepad up here. Right? Because, again, your voices are very important. So any ideas that y'all can bring to the table, any questions that you have, the floor is now open.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Come on up. How you doing? You look familiar. Come on up. Now, you ain't going to talk bad about me, is you? All right, now.
Yeah, take the microphone.
As a matter of
from
fact,
us,
I'm Cecilia Fontenot from the South Park area. How do I find out if one of you are in my neighborhood? Because we have lots of problems.
We'll leave our information for you. You should definitely talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll be my personal number. See, I got you. Yes, Miss Fano. We might be related. My grandma was a Fano. See, you might be my auntie. Yeah, girl. I'm sorry. Anybody? Okay.
Who else you got?
Anybody else?
You got how much time?
Yes, sir.
I think my voice can
Okay, yes, sir. Got that
Thank
baritone.
y'all for the presentation. It was excellently done. And I was taking some notes down and had some questions, but, listen to the end of the conversation, the presentation, you answered all the questions. So I just want to say, given the society that we live in, with all the negative depictions and images portrayed about law enforcement and all forms of media and entertainment, my question is, how do you garner buy-in from the community? You demonstrated that through the meetings and everything. And then I know this has been around since 2021. I think you guys done a lot, right? Yes, and it has the potential to be a best practice. So my question was, we live in Harris County, so how do you communicate this to the Fort Benns and the Montgomery counties? So when we travel through those different counties, they have the same mission and mentality that you have.
The best part about it is crime. That's not the best part. Let me not say that. Crime is not the best part, but because crime does travel, it does present opportunity for us to start working with our neighboring counties like Fort Bend, Brazoria County. As a matter of fact, through our crime prevention specialists, we went to a recent meeting. So we made a lot of contacts with Waco and other areas like that. So that is something we will be building upon as things come down the line. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we just had another question coming in from my chat room.
Hey, chat room.
How do you self-care after serving so many? And I think that's from questions.
Miss Tisha. You want to answer that?
Right.
Real quickly, I can say one way of self-care is having a family. My team is my family. And nobody understands you better than people that you work with most of the time. That's who you're going to be the majority of the time. And the second thing, whatever religious base you have, prayer is essential. Prayer is essential, and be able to humble yourself and be around people that really truly love you. A lot of people don't experience that. We're trying to give love to a community, but internally, suicide rate is rampant in law enforcement. The highest rate of suicide in law enforcement is African American men. Okay? So what that said is there's an undue stress. So I'm trying to serve you that you don't want to be served. That's hard. Or I don't get a thank you. Who don't want to thank you? Who won't stand in line at Chick-fil-A? Real talk, they sell chicken. That's what they sell. But their line is from here to Kirby. You'll stand in that line. Why? Because you know what kind of service you're going to get and what kind of quality you're going to get on a daily basis. So that's what we hear. When I put this uniform on, I'm here to serve you. But at the same time, we got to be family and friends. But I want to again thank my family and my friends who are my team, and thank you for supporting us as a whole. And what you can do for us is, one, get your politicians right now, seriously, and let them know that hey, we are making a change. The social media that you see, you could change that. It don't take one. It's only take one. It's like having a glass of water and you put a drop of oil in it, change the whole content of it. But if you have a gallon of oil and you put a drop of water in, you can still use that oil. So we want to be that oil, and these little drops of water we're dealing with, we need you. That's what we need at the end of the day. All this talking and meetings, that's great. But we're putting our feet on the ground. When you see a little kid come and hug you and tell you thank you, that haven't eaten, come on. You change people's minds by what? Giving something. So with that said, thank y'all. We know our time is up. If you got any more questions, we're here. Deputy Paul's going to buy everybody lunch. So you got it. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, we got 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Oh,
All
we
right.
still got a little room
Hey,
left.
Tracy. How you doing? Come on. This is my girl, y'all. She's so supportive. She always calls and checks on me, y'all.
Yes. Tracy Brown, organizer of Peer Justice. I just want to give props to Deputy Washington. And I don't want to forget my other deputy right here on the end. I met you at the crime prevention. But Deputy Washington, she actually followed up with us. She came to one of our monthly meetings. And we didn't have any air conditioner. But we had our members there.
They gave me a fan, though.
Yeah, I did. I gave her a fan. I was just so impressed with the way she communicated with the members. She answered tough questions. And being an ex-law enforcement person myself, I was like, hey, just see what happens. And she did. And she came and was a part of the groups. She participated. And I was just so impressed with her. She reminds me of me when I was younger. But they're really doing a great job. And I'm just here to say kudos. I'm just here to say that you are doing what you say you are doing. And we were so grateful, Peer Justice, to have you to come to our meeting. Thank you. You're my girl. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvie. I didn't know you was in here, girl. God, it's so good.
Yes.
Go ahead, right
Don't be shy.
Make sure it reaches.
Yeah.
here. Come on up.
Yeah.
Just a general question. Thank you all for what you do. But my question is, has there been any, I guess, true statistical information or improvement where you all have like storefront locations? And one thing I think about is Haverstock. Haverstock, I used to work that area, but would never, as a civilian myself, go there. But has there been any type of improvement, I guess, with the relationships in those communities since you're there?
Well, I'll let them answer, but I'd like to introduce soon-to-be Lieutenant and Ms. Isis for the numbers, right? They are with our CAD division, K division. So that's the ones that get the data to let us know what we're doing, what we're not doing. And I'll let them answer that question. But the biggest, to me, the biggest way we know we're making a change is not with numbers, is when we walk into that community and somebody speaking, know your name. That's to me. Because you can't change people's lives in paper. That's just my thought. But I'll let them introduce themselves. That's the backbone of the data for us.
Come on, don't act shy.
Okay. You might want to stand.
This is the time.
Right?
Hi, Isis Garcia. I'm here with my sergeant, Sergeant Thomas Paskett, as well as my major. He should be here somewhere. I am actually in charge of the District 1 area, but I also put together the reports that they presented. I'm in charge of the DDEX reports. I have seen a decrease in violence crime. That's what I track most often. I've worked collaboratively with Deputy Washington, Deputy Powell, with contracts. We even took tours or ride-alongs to the areas, those buildings that they showed. I have seen them personally, and afterwards, after they got demolished, we did see a decrease in crime. So they are working hard. What they're doing is working. So thank you for everything that y'all do.
We didn't pay her for that, you know. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Carrie Davila, and I work with Harris County Juvenile Probation. And I'm not talking for y'all, but I got a little contingent of our folks over there. Yeah, we're all here. Right, so our department is really going in this direction as well, just really building trust, meeting people where they are. And we would love to partner with y'all. We would absolutely love, and again, I'm speaking for y'all, but there's a couple of us that run field offices where our youth, come in. We have office visits where we really collaborate with our families and try to make a plan for them going forward. We really consider that our kids, even though they're already on probation or on a deferred contract already, there's still prevention that needs to be done. They are not a lost cause, absolutely. So we would love to partner with y'all. Y'all can come to our place anytime.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're excited about this opportunity.
That's right. Let's play chess. Let's go.
We got to go. You got 1 minute?
1 minute.
Real quickly, I asked one favor before we close out. They're going to do a solo. Before they do their solo,
Bye.
I would like all my team members to come up real quick. Everybody come up.
Come on now. Expeditiously.
45 seconds. Let's go.
That's what my pastor used to say.
30
Now,
seconds.
How big is Harris County? Paul, how big is Harris?
1,700.
1,700 square miles?
How much?
Over 1,700 square miles?
1,700 square miles. This is what you have to cover Harris County with. Come on, Sergeant Cheatham. Deputy Mordecai was the last one coming up. Deputy Mordecai been doing this over 30 plus years.
Big
32.
sexy.
He's our senior.
Big sexy. Big swole coming down.
He could have retired like yesterday. He can't, so I'm not gonna let him go. Second thing is, he has 2 sons that work for the sheriff department that's right now as well. And he has a daughter about to come over. So that shows you an example of that. We have Deputy Ty, Deputy Rivers. That's a whole other person right there. But Deputy, tell me your name, your last name. Alvarado.
Ladies
the one and
love
only
that.
Sergeant Cheatham, Deputy Live, and the one and only, the senior of all seniors, Deputy Mordecai. I just want to tell everyone thank you for your time. Thank you for my team and my family. Laura is part of, we have 2 deputies part of it, and you need us real quick. Laura, tell me what you need us to do real quick.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Deputy Magallanes. My partner, Deputy Martinez, he couldn't be here with us today, but he and I, we work together. Unidos is a new program that Sheriff Ed Gonzalez decided to initiate about a year ago, March 2021. And what we do is we take all the information the Harris County Sheriff's Office has to offer to the community, to our community, Hispanic community, in their own language. All the information, resources we take out to the community, and it's been amazing these few months, or almost a year, just going out there, communicate with the community and let them know that we're here to serve them. Because let's be honest, my people, if they will see an officer in uniform, of course, the first thing they will kind of get scared. They didn't want to talk to us. So we're trying to break that change. We want them to know that we're here to help them, and we're here to bring all the information they need. So it's very important for them to know what we have to offer, and at the same time educate them and to know how and what our county and when it comes to law enforcement, the rules that we have to implement, and they know they have to abide by those rules as a resident of this community.
We're gonna be like, you're not gonna be like the
Yeah.
First Baptist Church. You really gonna leave.
Yeah.
One more thing,
We
one
are.
more thing.
And if y'all don't mind, y'all want to be a part of this memory for us? We'll just get y'all to.
Everybody just lean
Everybody
over.
just lean in. Well, actually, it's gonna start with a video, but
Okay.
we can lean in just a minute. Everybody say hey.
Hey.
Love it. And I'm gonna take a quick picture because you gotta have a selfie. Yeah, it ain't right without a selfie. Everybody ready? Oh, wait.
Now squeeze in, act like y'all love each other.
Right? 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for your time.
Get up, sister. Don't get. Hey, real quickly, we got a couple things coming up. First, get our information.
Yeah.
Secondly, we take a love donation at the door. And thirdly, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.